What's up, horror fans? Happy 4th of July weekend. It is Danny from the Lacercast, and I'm here to tell you all of the great stuff that Pete and I have coming up this month on our channel. First of all, if you've not given us a subscribe, please go and do that. We have so many cool things up on our channel. We have interviews with authors, filmmakers, actors. We're running the gamut. Pete is like a machine interviewing people. One of the things we have coming up is on Tuesday, he's got an interview with Bret Nelson, who wrote a novelization of the movie Manborg. And if you have no idea what Manborg is, it is this incredible low-budget movie from Astron 6. One of those filmmakers is Stephen Kostanski, who directed PG Psycho Goreman, which is available to watch now on Shudder. One of Pete and my favorite horror films of 2021. We have an interview with Stephen Kostanski up on our channel. So, aside from movie reviews, deep dive discussions into the work of Mike Flanagan and other topical films, if you go up on our channel right now, the last video that's up there, Pete and I sat down and for over 45 minutes we talked about and dissected the new horror film, The Black Phone. So give us a subscribe, like this video, and let's talk about what we have coming up. First of all, it's a holiday weekend, and here at the Lacercast, we love holiday horror. Doesn't matter the holiday. We'll find horror movies for you. Now, I'm wearing a shirt of Return of the Living Dead with my boy Tarman, and hey, I'm filming this video on July 3rd. That movie starts on July 3rd. So, this just went up on Shudder. It's also available on other streaming services. One of the great horror comedies of all time, Return of the Living Dead, from Dan O'Bannon in 1985. A perfect movie to watch over this weekend. It's already Sunday, but over the 4th of July holiday. Of course, maybe you're going to the beach. The weather here in New York has been absolutely insane. It's been like 80 to 90 degrees every day. Maybe you're going to the beach, and therefore you should watch not only my favorite horror movie, but my all-time favorite movie, and that is Jaws, the original summer blockbuster from 1975, Steven Spielberg. And if you want to debate me on whether it's a horror movie or not, hit me up in the comments, because I'll tell you, it is, of course, a horror movie. Watch that movie, and then try not to hear the sound, da-na, next time you go into the ocean. What else do we have planned for you? Well, I already mentioned Pete's interview with Bret Nelson, the author of the novelization of Manborg. That is hitting our channel on Tuesday morning. On Wednesday, Pete and I are getting together, not in person, of course, but we are coming together and we are doing our mid-year review. As of July 1st, we have reached the midway point of 2022. Time is just a flat circle. It's ridiculous. I can't believe it's already the summer. It's already midway through this year. But this has been a pretty great year so far for horror. We've had big budget blockbusters like Scream. We've had some pretty successful movies to hit theaters. I'm thinking of X, The Return of Ty West to horror. Obviously, just mentioned, we did a 45-minute dissection of The Black Phone from the tandem of Scott Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, based on the short story by Joe Hill. Those are some of the big names that we'll be talking about. There's plenty of lesser-known horror films that we've watched on VOD, on Shudder, in theaters even, that we'll be talking about in our mid-year review. We're going to kind of be doing a little ranking, talking about the movies that maybe have slipped through the cracks for you, that you guys can find. What else do we got? We're interviewing Michael Morrissey later this week, the one of the writers of the new horror film Revealer, which is also available on Shudder. You hear me saying the word Shudder a lot. You might think that we're being sponsored by them. You would think wrong. We're not being sponsored by them, but we love Shudder. It is like the home base for Pete and I. Aside from the work of Mike Flanagan, which inspired the channel, we always go back to Shudder the best horror streaming service out there, and we use them to kind of set up what we're going to do. Well, thankfully, they, like me, love John Carpenter. They just threw up on July 1st Prince of Darkness, The Thing, and They Live. 3 of my favorite Carpenter films. I actually took Charlotte to see The Thing in Alamo Drafthouse. Yes, The Thing that Mick Garris went nuts about on social media and complained about the Fathom Events screening. I gotta be honest, I was just happy to see it in the theater. I was happy to have my 11-year-old daughter there to watch it with me. She just went to sleepaway camp, and she's gone for 5 days, which is really upsetting that I don't have her with me. But that reminds me that when she gets home, we're going to watch Sleepaway Camp, and we're going to do a review for the channel. So that's something you guys can look forward to. Charlotte and I are going to be reviewing Sleepaway Camp when she comes home. She'll be home on Friday. We have tickets to Thor, so we're going to probably sit down and do that review. We'll watch the movie and then do a review right after on Saturday. Can't wait to show her that. I was explicitly told by my wife that I am not allowed to show her Sleepaway Camp until she gets home. I guess that's fair. What else is coming to Shudder in the month of July? The mouth of July? The month of July, aside from the John Carpenter stuff, Pete and I are going to do a deep dive podcast style review for Prince of Darkness, because Prince of Darkness is one of those John Carpenter movies that kind of slips through the cracks a lot. You got that amazing stretch that he goes on from Halloween to The Fog to The Thing to Escape from New York. I actually think I messed up. I think it's Escape from New York and then The Thing. Prince of Darkness comes a few years later, after he had done Christine and Starman, and it kind of falls through the cracks. It's the second part of his Apocalypse trilogy, The Thing being the first part, and In the Mouth of Madness being the finale. It's a movie that takes a lot of bold steps. It's very abstract, but it has an amazing cast of Carpenter regulars, including, of course, Donald Pleasance. When I got to meet Alice Cooper at the Great Philly Comic-Con years ago, and I waited online, and after I embarrassed myself by Wayne's World telling him I was not worthy, the question that I got to ask him was about his small role in Prince of Darkness and what it was like working with John Carpenter. So that was really cool. I was glad to be able to, marry my love of horror and my love of Alice Cooper music and bring those two things together there. So yeah, can't wait to talk about Prince of Darkness with Pete. We're also going to be reviewing another classic horror film that just went up on Shudder, the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We're going to be talking about that deep dive, 30-40 minutes, probably in about 2 weeks. What else is up on Shudder that you guys can go and see? Speaking of reasons why you should like our channel, the very first interview that we secured for our channel was Alok Mishra and Naomi Grossman, the producer and co-star of 1BR. If you've not seen this movie, it came out in 2020, very low budget, but extremely effective horror thriller about a woman who moves into an apartment complex that is basically controlled by a cult. Fantastic little movie, totally recommend it, and I have a soft spot for it because the producer and the co-star were the first interview that we have. So if you go into YouTube and you type in Lassercast 1BR or Lassercast 1BR interview, you'll get to see that interview. Another reason to subscribe to our channel. At the end of the month, I'm so freaking excited about this. Jaws is my favorite movie of all time. So by default, here's the coaster on my side table, if you didn't believe me. By default, I just love shark movies. I will watch any shark movie, whether it is an attempt to make a good film like The Shallows, whether it's an attempt to make a silly, fun movie to make money like Deep Blue Sea, or whether it is Sharktopus or Sharknado. I don't care. If it has sharks in it, I'm probably going to watch it. Well, in my opinion, the best shark movie ever made that is not Jaws was The Reef, an Australian shark movie, and part 2 is coming out at the is being released to Shudder at the end of July. It's called The Reef Stalked, and I'm very excited about this. And apparently, so is my kitty cat, Kobashi. Say hi. Okay, you didn't say hi. It's fine. I still love you. So, we have a huge month planned. We're doing deep dive discussions of Prince of Darkness, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. We have interviews coming up with screenwriters, Michael Morrissey of Revealer. We have interviews dropping with horror authors, Bret Nelson, who did the novelization of Manborg. We're doing a huge mid-year review. I'm so excited about that because I'm really excited to talk about not just the big horror movies like Scream and The Black Phone, but some of those little horror movies that have slipped through the cracks, and really talk about those and give out some recommendations. And if you have any recommendations, you tell us what were, in fact, that's a great idea. You guys tell us what were your favorite horror movies so far in 2022. They could have been theatrical releases, or they could have been dropped on VOD. It could be a Netflix thing. It could be sitting on Vudu. I'll rent it. I just rented Dashcam by the makers of Host, and I watched it, and I thought it was okay. I don't know if it's going to make my top mid-year review. I also just rented on VOD Watcher, another new horror film that's just come out, and I'm really excited to watch that. In fact, I might go watch that now. So yeah, what are your favorite new horror films of 2022? Let me know in the comments. I'll try to watch as many of them before we film our mid-year review, and then I could, shout you out. I could, recommend you some of my favorites, and we'll head on into the summer. So this has been Danny from the Lasercast, wishing you a happy 4th of July weekend, and we'll see you very soon.